Hey guys, welcome to the 19th tutorial in a multiplayer series. Uh, One thing to note, this won't be the last because we are now finished working on the map editor. So we have to work on loading the map in the level itself and doing other things like adding collision, making other users load your map when they join your room so they can load their map so you'll be able to join their room by loading their map. Uh, Today we're going to finish off this loading problem, and the first thing we want to do is go into the object loop, and we'll just call a a random variable. We'll define it saying if this is something we want to do when the movie clip loads but can't do it the way we like. So this will only happen once, although this is an object loop which is goes on forever. This will only happen once because we'll say if this dot my depth value is not equal to undefined. No, if it is equal to undefined means it does not exist, which it does not because we did not define it. So if this does not exist, then we want this to happen. We want its depth to change, and then under that we want to say this dot my depth value is equal to true, or we can change it to check my depth. So if check my depth is equal to undefined, which it is, then check the depth and make it true. So this will only happen once ever. And also when we reload the movie clip, we don't actually load back its depth, we're going to load its name, and we need to load its depth as well. So up here we can just, in the object loop, we can also just say if this dot old depth is equal to undefined, and it should be undefined because we don't load it up or set it in the attached movie clip. This will be a lot easier than going to each different button and saying old depth is equal to whatever the old depth should be. So if this is equal to undefined, then this dot old depth will be equal to this dot y. Put this right above everything else, since this will check the depth, which will be called by all these different functions. And we can remove this check my depth, this old depth here, so we don't remove that since we define it up here. That's really the base of all problems. And the next thing we want to do in object objects, well, since we place movie clips and they update their positions one time, if we place two movie clips on the same y-axis, then they'll swap with each other, which may cause some objects to disappear. So what we want when we release this, we want the camera position, the camera's y value, to increase slightly by a little. So say root dot camera dot y plus equals, and a number that wouldn't really be noticed for a while, so 0.1. So of course we need to add this to all these different buttons. So what I usually do, since we need to keep adding things to these buttons, I just select all the buttons, press Ctrl Shift and G to ungroup it, and then I just select all the images, group it, select all the text, group it, and in the buttons just leave it as is. So just copy this from inside the push button and add it to all the other buttons. And that will deal with all the items. There's one more thing I want to show you. Well, I want to tell you. Let's just go into the list. When we delete maps by pressing the delete button, or even clear, we don't actually delete the map itself. We don't actually delete the map itself. We only delete the that variable from the list. So when we press the button to delete it, it seems like it's gone, but it's just gone from the list because the coordinates for the maps will still exist. If we try loading up the coordinates, if we remember the name and we do that manually, it will load. So we want to remove that so that you don't have many maps in history still. Or well, if you want to make a function where you'd allow users to back up their files by pressing in the name of the map and it will load up, you can do that yourself, but here we want to remove it as well. So before we make this number undefined, and this number is actually the name of the map from the list itself, we just copy the shared object mgt list, call it mgt, and it will be the name of the file will be mgt plus this here, which will be the name of the current map. So when we delete, we want to call this shared object file, which is whatever mbx is, well, whatever this button is supposed to represent, and then say mgt.clear. So that will clear those variables from the map, and then underneath that, then you can set this to undefined. Uh, for clearing the entire map, where we do mgt list.clear, we need to create a loop to read all the files and everything, but that will take too long. So actually we can do this. I've just thought of something we can do. So instead of saying mgt list.clear right here, we just call a global variable. So global dot, and let's name it clear all maps is equal to true, And then after this variable called global clear maps sets to true, then a list box will refresh again. And after this refreshes, we can check right underneath this shared object file defined here. We can say if global dot clear all maps, then we create a for loop for let's just copy this for loop here. So for d is equal to 0, d is less than this number, whatever this number is for the list, which is the max number, then d with plus plus, and inside here we want just copy this code here, mgt shared object and mgt.clear, paste it inside here. So we'll make mgt equal to mgt plus whatever the name of the map is, which instead of using this number we use d. So it will just load up whatever this specific map was, and this number down here was the position, which is a number. So we number 1 is equal to Bob, name of that map is Bob. Number 2, name of that is new map. Number 3 will be map 2, so just load it up here. So it will be mgt plus mgt map 2 mgt map 3, and that's how you save the map. So it will define these variables and clear these maps as well. And after that, we want to trace, not trace, we want to say mgt list dot clear, and finally we say underscore global dot clear all maps equal false. So instead of deleting the map one time right here, we actually set global dot clear maps to true, and it will delete all maps as well as their data. That's it for this tutorial. I haven't really planned anything about loading it in other tutorials, but let's just inside load map, this we may need to use these things, but you can just copy this scroll pane here, go into we need to set a host. Well, before we do anything else, this label is connect. Select these 3 different frames here, right click and press copy frames, and then anywhere between inside here, right click, paste frames. I'll just remove these frames. And instead of having this as connect, this name of this will be host. So this is where people connected to the server will go, and this is where the hosts will go. And in the code for host server, go to and stop host, and people connecting will go to connect. So just differentiate between the two. And the connect frame, let's just make some text up here, call it connect, and on the other frame host server, you obviously the IP address you host it from will be local, so we won't need to enter anything. But this is where the list box will be. So copy this, paste it anywhere here. We'll make room for it soon. Just this IP text inside host, change it to dynamic text, and in the actions frame, just say root dot ip underscore text dot text is equal to string 127.0.0.1. So no matter what you try, this will always be local so that we can join it. But we still need space for this here. So let's drag this somewhere where it won't really bother anything and reset it. So drag this up here. This will be all the maps that he wants to host. And when he clicks on the map, you don't really want it to load the map or go load maps or anything. So we'll deal with the rest of this in episode 20. Uh, hope you, if you have any questions, just say it below. We're trying to get this done in about 5 more tutorials. All the collision, uh, adding maps, letting users make their own maps and send it to others to play. So uh, what we're going to do for the next tutorial is just when you press each map, it will have a string here saying so and so map is selected, and then when you press join, it will load that map. So I'm just copying a string of text here, calling it notice underscore text, and in the library inside the list where we go down to mgt, when you press MB, we'll check if global dot is host is equal to false, then do everything inside here. So exclamation global dot host, and then after, if it's not host, then it will load the map, And of course, it won't be a host when we're editing the map. One more thing before we go into the map editor scene where we save the map and load it. This equal sign is invalid because this actually returns an undefined object. So take out those equal signs from the for loops in load map and save map. That's it. See you guys next time. This was the 19th tutorial. See you soon. Bye. I hope to probably stop at 25. But if you have any questions, if you'd like me to add any new things aside from this topic, you can comment below. If you have any bugs, send me the file and I'll see if I can fix it. But that is it. So goodbye.